I'm Andrew, I'm from Wyong, I'm 17. I've been writing for ages. I never saw it as poetry or anything like that. It was just my way of getting on with things, I guess. So writing was always something I did, so yeah. I'd say to myself, I have a lot of nerves. So trying to, especially in poetry, makes you really vulnerable as well, especially when you're pouring your heart out onto that page. So that whole idea of getting up on stage and being vulnerable to a lot of people or saying things that you probably wouldn't say to anyone, which is really cool. That's such a cool opportunity, but it's really nerve-wracking, it's really hard. So, looking back on the day when I first saw you again, the first time in years, that I walked that road, went through that gate lined with rusted children. Houses built with bare hands, constructed of tin and wood, woven roofs, which my grandmother taught me of. These streets that I once walked when I was much younger than I am now, seeing the silhouettes of houses where shanties stand now. These streets still etched into my mind from walking this dusty dirt-paved road years ago. Our house is like a spectacle, bigger than most, bamboo furniture, concrete walls. Rusted tin roof lined with smoke from burning embers on the floor. Leaning against the door frame, I wait. I catch a glimpse of her. Our eyes cross a few times as she glares at me like she knows me, but she doesn't know where from. She's not as angry as she is today, as usual. So she has no idea where she is, who these people are, even though they are her sons and daughters, her nieces and nephews, her grandchildren. She can't remember yesterday, but she remembers years ago. I point to her a photo on the wall, a younger image of who she knows. This was the single most beautiful thing I have ever seen. As if for one moment, her mind was renewed. Memory filled the spaces in between, sewed in the patches like on her denim jeans. Her skin, the cracks in her skin had faded. Her grey hair had been coloured once again as she skipped over to me and grabbed my hands. The first thing she said was child and my name. I corrected her and said grandchild, but she corrected me and said they were one in the same. In my family, I never really felt like I belonged. No one else could play music, write poems or song, but she pushed my faith with the way she spoke. See, every line rhymed with the next like her life was a song. I used to write a lot about how I didn't know why I wrote, how I was filled with endless rhymes, which was the only way I could truly express the way I felt inside. See, when you're 7 with symptoms of depression, no one really listens. But when I spoke to my grandmother, I understood why. Patayako, her song, Patayako, her cry. When I spoke to my grandmother, I understood why. For the words spoken in her native tongue were, I want to die. She lived in her own hell inside her mind. The dementia was like a cancer. It consumed all the light. But when she spoke to me, she spoke of simple things, of memories. When I was much younger, we spent a lot of time together. She was always chasing after me, and when I was too tired to roam those dusty dirt-paved roads, she approached those silhouettes of houses, which once stood there and handed me sweetbreads. She told me they were my favourite. She told me of a shared affection like between a son and a mother. Her eyes were so full of warmth and so full of emotion as my eyes began to well at the thought of tomorrow when she would no longer know me, when all of this would be forgotten. How rude of me to come into a home which was filled with strangers, my mother, her daughter, her uncles, my cousins, her grandson.